claim me or lose everything. The Queen's forbidden choice for the human. The arrival of the Esteringinger, the twin sons of Vexler Prime, cast crimson light across the Obsidian Palace as Empress Kiara Thorne stood at the panoramic window of her throne room. Her silver hair cascaded down her back, contrasting sharply with the deep violet of her ceremonial robes. She ruled the Vexilon Empire with an iron will, respected and feared across 3 star systems. Yet today, her usually steady heartbeat quickened with anticipation. "Your Imperial Majesty," her advisor Nyx bowed deeply, "the human vessel has docked. The pilot requests an audience." Kiara's expression remained neutral, though curiosity burned within her. Humans were extraordinarily rare this far from their homeworld. What would bring one to her domain? Send him in. When Ethan Cross entered, Kiara felt something shift in the carefully constructed walls around her heart. He moved with confidence despite being surrounded by beings twice his size, his brown hair slightly disheveled from his journey, green eyes surveying the throne room with intelligent appreciation rather than fear. He wore a simple flight suit that couldn't hide his athletic build. "Empress Kiara Thorne," he said, his voice warm and steady. "Thank you for receiving me. I come bearing trade proposals from the Terran Alliance." She descended from her throne, each step measured and deliberate. "You travel far from home, human. What makes you think I'm interested in what your people offer?" Ethan met her gaze without flinching. "Because I've studied your empire. You're not just a warrior queen, you're a visionary. You understand that strength comes from connection, not isolation." A smile tugged at Kiara's lips. "Bold, intelligent, intriguing. You may stay as my guest while we discuss these proposals." She gestured to her guards. "Prepare quarters in the eastern wing." As Ethan bowed and departed, Kiara returned to her window, watching his reflection in the crystalline glass until he disappeared from view. She pressed her palm against the cool surface, feeling the warmth that had nothing to do with the twin suns above. Her advisor approached cautiously. "Your Majesty, having a human here could complicate matters with the Council." "Let them complicate," Kiara whispered, surprising herself with the words. The dance of power and desir. The Imperial Banquet Hall glittered with bioluminescent crystals embedded in the vaulted ceiling. Ethan had been at the palace for 3 days, and tonight Kiara had invited him to dine among her court. He navigated the sea of alien nobility with surprising grace, deflecting veiled insults with humor and answering probing questions with diplomatic skill. Kiara watched from her elevated table, pretending to listen to Lord Varek's tedious report about mining operations. Her eyes kept drifting to the human who laughed easily with Ambassador Thrin, who'd been trying to embarrass him moments earlier. "You're distracted, Empress," Varek observed coolly. "I'm evaluating," she corrected, taking a sip of starfruit wine. After the meal, she summoned Ethan to her private study. The room was smaller, more intimate, filled with ancient texts and star charts. He entered and closed the door behind him, the sound echoing in the sudden silence. "You handled yourself well tonight," Kiara said, pouring 2 glasses of Vexilon nectar. "Most outsiders crumble under the court's scrutiny. I've faced worse than pointed questions," Ethan replied, accepting the glass. Their fingers brushed and electricity seemed to arc between them. Asteroid fields, solar storms. One very angry space kraken near Proxima 7. She laughed a genuine sound that startled them both. "A space kraken? Now you're testing my credulity." "I swear it's true." He moved closer, his warmth radiating in the cool room. "Your Majesty, Kiara, may I ask you something personal?" Her breath caught at hearing her name on his lips. "You may ask. I may not answer." Why does the most powerful woman in 3 systems seem so lonely? The question pierced through her defenses like a plasma blade. She turned away, gripping the edge of her desk. "You overstep, human." "Do I? His voice was closer now, just behind her. Or am I the first person brave enough to see past the crown? Kiara spun to face him, finding him mere inches away. She could see the flecks of gold in his green eyes, smell the subtle scent of his soap mixed with something uniquely him. You know nothing about me, she whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. Then teach me. Ethan's hand rose slowly, giving her every chance to refuse before his fingers gently traced her jawline. I want to know the woman, not just the Empress. For a heartbeat, she allowed herself to lean into his touch, her eyes closing. Then reality crashed back. This cannot happen, she said, stepping back. You should go. But as he left, the ghost of his touch lingered on her skin like a brand. Forbidden night's sleep eluded Kiara. She paced her private chambers, still feeling Ethan's touch, still hearing his voice asking her to let him see beneath her armor. At midnight, she made a decision that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. The royal gardens were her sanctuary, a place where genetic engineers had recreated flora from a dozen worlds. Moonflowers bloomed silver under the starlight, their petals releasing a sweet fragrance. She found Ethan already there, standing beside the fountain as if he'd known she would come. I couldn't sleep, he said simply. Nor I. Kiara moved through the garden path, her sleeping gown flowing around her like liquid shadow. Without her ceremonial robes and crown, she felt almost vulnerable, almost mortal. They walked in silence at first, the only sound the gentle splash of water and the night breeze through crystalline leaves. Then Ethan spoke, his voice low and intimate. On Earth, we have a saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Is that true for you? Every day, Kiara admitted, surprising herself with her honesty. Every decision affects millions. Every relationship is political. Every smile could be manipulation. Not every smile. Ethan stopped walking, turning to face her fully. Not mine. She met his gaze, searching for deception and finding none. Why did you really come here, Ethan Cross? Trade agreements can be negotiated by diplomats. Because I heard stories about you. The warrior queen who united warring factions. The ruler who chose prosperity over conquest. I wanted to meet someone who wielded power with wisdom instead of cruelty. He stepped closer. I didn't expect to find someone who makes my heart race every time she enters a room. Kiara's breath quickened. This is dangerous. My people have a tradition, the claiming ritual. If I were to choose you, to claim you as mine, it would bind us in ways you can't imagine. Tell me, he urged, taking her hand. It means you would be under my protection, but also my authority. It means physical intimacy sanctioned by ancient law. It means you could never leave without my permission. She searched his face. It means I would own you, Ethan. Or, he said softly, bringing her hand to his lips, it means we would belong to each other. The kiss on her knuckles sent fire through her veins. She pulled him closer, their bodies nearly touching. If we begin this, there's no going back, she warned. I don't want to go back. Their lips met in a kiss that felt like falling and flying simultaneously. His arms wrapped around her waist while her fingers tangled in his hair. The kiss deepened, months of loneliness and desire pouring into that single moment of connection. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Kiara pressed her forehead against his. Stay with me tonight, she whispered. Just stay. They returned to her chambers hand in hand, the future uncertain but this moment perfect. The choice that changes everything. Morning light filtered through the crystalline windows of Kiara's chambers, casting prismatic patterns across the silk sheets. Ethan stirred first, finding the Empress still sleeping beside him, her silver hair spread across the pillows like starlight. In sleep, the hard edges of command softened, revealing the woman she kept hidden from the world. He traced gentle patterns on her bare shoulder, marveling at the night they'd shared, whispered confessions, tender explorations, and a connection that transcended the physical. When her eyes finally opened, he saw vulnerability there that made his chest tighten. "Good morning," he murmured, pressing a kiss to her temple. "This complicates everything," Kiara said softly, though she made no move to leave his embrace. A sharp knock shattered the intimate moment. "Your Majesty, urgent council meeting." Nyx's voice carried through the door. Reality crashed back with brutal force. Kiara rose gracefully, her imperial mask sliding back into place as she dressed. "Stay here. No one can know about this yet." But secrets in a palace were like water through cupped hands, impossible to contain. The emergency council session crackled with tension. Lord Varric stood at the center, his expression triumphant and cruel. "We have intelligence that suggests the human may be a spy sent to infiltrate your confidence, Your Majesty." Kiara's blood ran cold, though her face remained impassive. "What evidence?" "His ship contains communication equipment beyond standard merchant vessels." His questions about our defenses disguised as innocent curiosity. Varric's smile was predatory. "And witnesses report he was seen entering your private chambers last night." Murmurs rippled through the council. Kiara felt the ground shifting beneath her feet. One wrong move could destroy everything. "I demand he be expelled immediately," Varric continued, "or handed over to our interrogators to extract the truth." "The human is under my protection," Kiara said, her voice cutting through the noise like a blade. "Protection?" Varric laughed. "Or has he seduced you into weakness? The mighty Empress, brought low by alien charm?" Rage burned through Kiara's veins, but she channeled it into icy control. "You forget yourself, Lord Varric. Question my judgment again, and you'll find yourself stripped of title and land." She dismissed the council and returned to her chambers, finding Ethan exactly where she'd left him, now fully dressed and clearly having heard everything through the door. "I should leave," he said immediately, "before this destroys you." "No." The word came out fierce, possessive. Kiara crossed to him, cupping his face in her hands. "I won't let them drive you away. I won't let fear make my decisions. Kiara, they'll tear you apart politically, then let them try." She kissed him deeply, pouring all her determination into it. "I am Empress Kiara Thorne. I have conquered worlds and united empires. I will not be conquered by gossip and political machinations." Ethan pulled back slightly, his expression serious. "The claiming ritual you mentioned. If you did that, would it legitimize us? Protect us both?" "Yes, but then claim me." His green eyes blazed with certainty. "Publicly? Show them that this isn't weakness, it's strength. Show them you choose your own path." Kiara's heart hammered. The claiming ritual was sacred, permanent, witnessed by the entire court. It would be a declaration that would echo across the empire. "Are you certain?" "This means giving up your freedom, binding yourself to me in ways your people don't practice." "I've never been more certain of anything." He took her hands. "I love you, Kiara, not the Empress you. The woman who laughs at space kraken stories and walks in moonlit gardens and lets herself be vulnerable in the darkness. Claim me, and let's face this world together." Tears she'd suppressed for years threatened to fall. "I love you too," she whispered, the admission both terrifying and liberating. She called for Nyx. "Prepare the Hall of Eternal Bonds. We perform the claiming ritual at sunset."
United against all odds. The Hall of Eternal Bonds had witnessed centuries of sacred ceremonies, but none quite like this. Every noble, diplomat, and courtier packed the vast chamber, their whispers creating a nervous buzz. Lord Varric stood among them, his expression dark with fury. Kiara entered in full ceremonial regalia, robes of midnight blue embedded with stars harvested from dying suns, her crown a masterwork of crystal and platinum. She looked every inch the warrior empress, and Ethan's breath caught at the sight. He stood at the altar in formal attire provided by the palace, his heart pounding, but his resolve unwavering. When Kiara reached him, she took his hands, and the hall fell silent. "Witnesses of the Vexillon Empire," Kiara's voice rang clear and commanding, "I invoke the ancient right of claiming. Ethan Cross, of Earth, do you come to this willingly, understanding that you bind yourself to me in body, mind, and spirit?" "I do," Ethan said firmly, his voice carrying to every corner, "freely and completely. Then by the authority vested in me by blood and crown, I claim you as mine. You are under my protection, part of my house, bound to my fate." She drew a ceremonial blade, pricking her finger until a drop of silver blood welled up. Blood to blood, soul to soul. Ethan offered his hand without hesitation. She pricked his finger, and when their blood mingled, a surge of energy pulsed through the hall, the ancient magic recognizing and sealing the bond. "From this moment until the stars grow cold, we are one," Kiara declared. Then, in a departure from tradition that shocked the assembly, she added, "And I bind myself to him as well, not as property, but as equal partners, as lovers, as chosen family." She pulled Ethan into a passionate kiss that left no doubt about the nature of their relationship. The hall erupted, some in outrage, many in surprised approval, but all acknowledging the power of the moment. When they broke apart, Ethan whispered, "That wasn't part of the traditional ritual, was it?" "No," Kiara smiled, that rare genuine expression that transformed her face. "But I am Empress. I make new traditions." Lord Varric stormed forward. "This is an abomination, a disgrace to—" "Careful," Kiara's voice dropped to dangerous levels. "He is mine now, which means any threat to him is treason against the crown. Choose your next words very wisely." Varric paled and retreated, recognizing the battle was lost. That night, in the privacy of her chambers, now their chambers, Kiara and Ethan celebrated their union in ways both tender and passionate. He traced the lines of her body like memorizing a constellation, and she opened herself to him completely, without walls or pretense. "What happens now?" Ethan asked later, as they lay tangled together beneath the silk sheets. "Now we rule together," Kiara said, her head resting on his chest. "We face whatever comes as partners. There will be challenges, alliances to manage, rivals to outmaneuver, prejudices to overcome. Sounds like an adventure." She laughed, tilting her head up to kiss him. "I'm insane. Probably. But I'm yours. And I'm yours," she whispered back, the words still new and wonderful. Through the window, the twin suns began their rise, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. A new day dawned on the Vexillon Empire, and for the first time in years, Empress Kiara Thorne faced it not alone, but with someone who loved her not for her power, but for herself. Their story was just beginning, and across the stars, it would be told as a legend of the warrior queen who chose love over loneliness and the brave explorer who claimed her heart as surely as she claimed him. The end.